Everybody. Today we are going to be learning about conditional execution by writing a method that will utilize a couple of nested for loops and if statements to create this filter on an image, which is actually one part a filter that affects the top half, and then another part a filter that affects the left half with some overlap in the top left corner. So to do that, I'm going to show you what we have done. We start with public void tile picture method header and initialize cur pixel, which I'm going to use to get color information at every pixel that I'm looping through. So in order to loop through the pixels that we want, I'm using nested for loops, and I'll explain what that means. So the first series of nested for loops, we are going to be targeting the top half of the picture. And to do that, we know we are not cutting it in half horizontally, we're doing the whole top half. So we start by writing the line that concerns our x values, and we're getting the whole width because we want to loop through the whole width. But we want to stop when I guess I'll explain more. So every pixel, we're starting at the top left, and we are getting the next pixel to the right, and to the right, and to the right, all the way down the row. Once we've gotten the whole row, we move down by 1, because we can no longer increment this line. We move down by 1, which allows us to then increment a whole nother row, 1 coordinate down. And we do this process of incrementing a lot in this line, then 1 here, then a lot here again, until we get halfway down the picture, and then we've targeted what we want. Once we've targeted that, we're going to apply this if statement. And what I've done is I've written an if statement that will get the current pixel, which we already initialized, get the red value, and if it's less than 150, what we're going to do is set it to 0, and if it's not, if it's more, if it's 150 or more, we are going to set that red value all the way up to 255, and this is just going to dramatize the reds in the picture. And so that'll affect the whole top half, which you saw in the picture that I showed you. One thing I'll point out about these if statements is, first of all, we want to open and close the brackets when we're dealing with each part of the statement. So we have our expression here that will decide whether this is applied or not. That's the cur pixel dot get red is less than 150. But you'll see that we're not nesting these within each other. They come after one another, and they must be nested within these for loops because that's the pixels that we're targeting. So now that I've explained that and how we're getting the top half of the picture targeted and modified, we're doing the same thing after that in the same method with the left half of the picture. So as you'll see, when we're writing this, you can see x equals 0, yes, for x is less than get width. We divide it by 2 this time, while beforehand we didn't. And the reason is because we only want to go halfway through the row before we increment down and do the same thing again for the next row and the next row after that. We only want to target the left half of the picture, and so that's just the way we do that. Where we had get height divided by 2 previously, now we want to go all the way down because we want the whole left side of the picture. So you can see that the way we target these sides changes because we're looking at left and right halves of the picture versus top and bottom halves. Now, I've done the same approach to the if-else statements as I did before, but this time we're targeting the blue pixels. So we will either set them to 0 or 255, and that's just another way of dramatizing these pixels. And so there's our whole method. I create a file, new collage, public class, new collage, public static void, main, of course. I hard-coded this one to just make things quicker, created a picture object, explore the picture, and apply the filter, and explore it again once we've applied the filter. The result is, as I mentioned, this. So you can see this top left corner is all the filters. But on the whole top of the picture, you can see that the red is the key player. It's been made more dramatic. And on the left side, you can see that blue is dominating everything. And that's how we did it. And the reason we use these if-else statements and these nested for loops is so that we can do all that in one picture and only have it be a few lines of code. So I hope that was helpful.